Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up, My Legion Adventure, Episode 6. Yes, we didn't have an episode Saturday, folks. Life gets involved. I have an ambitious mini project that I want to share with you, which will be covering the Liberty Legion and all their appearances in the late 70s. I have a beautiful hardback that has it all, and I'm just going to do this whole trade, but I'm going to do it over several episodes, and the first one will be probably late this weekend coming up. I'm going to a convention. I may do a little mini episode about GalaxyCon here in Richmond, and I've got a lot of Gallifrey Most Wanted stuff going up, and a surprise that I will announce later coming on this weekend. But Liberty Legion will be in your ears in a week or so, and I hope you enjoy it. It's, as a lover of Roy Thomas, it's important. But that's not what this episode's about. This episode's about the Legion of Superheroes. And it is our episode covering Superboy 89, covered in June 1961. And it is, the title of the story is Superboy's Big Brother. And Chapter 2 is called The Secret of Mon-El. So guess what? It is the first appearance of Mon-El. It is a classic comic. I enjoyed the heck out of rereading it. It had been a long time since I read it. But let's get going. Okay, it is a 19-page story, so it's a full-length story. It's the cover story, so it's a little longer. It is edited and plotted by Mort Weisinger. Plotter scripter Robert Bernstein, who I'm not that familiar with, but he does a heck of a good job. Penciler, inkler George Papp, some more amazing George Papp art, and John Letteros, the letterer. And let me give you what the synopsis is from the amazing official Legion of Superheroes Index. One evening, outside Smallville, Superboy rescues an older teenager from an exploding rocket ship. Although Boy cannot remember his origins, his superpowers, a medallion, and a note written by Superboy's father, Jor-El, convinces them both he is Superboy's older brother. Christened Mon-El after the day he arrived Monday, he is adopted by the Kent and takes the secret identity of Bob Cobb, brush salesman. One night, Superboy notices that Mon-El's belt buckle is made of non-Kryptonian metal. Playing a hunch, he exposes a sleeping Mon-El to a kryptonite and determines that whoever this stranger is, he is not from Krypton. When the two of them confront a gang of criminals who are catapulting lead boulders at Smallville, Mon-El collapses, the crooks escape, and Superboy is convinced his new friend is in league with them. Intent on exposing this ruse, he confiscates the lead boulders and paints them to look like green kryptonite, then arranges a fake meteor shower. Feigning agony, he watches Mon-El weaken, and he stands and accuses him of lying and shows him the evidence. However, the exposure to lead has returned Mon-El's memory, and he explains that he is a traveler from a Krypton-like world, Daxam, who landed on Krypton and met Jor-El and Laura shortly before the planet exploded. Moreover, he says a Daxamite is doomed once exposed to lead. Fortunately, Superboy is able to save Mon-El's life by projecting him into the Phantom Zone and vows someday to find a way to free him. Okay, first appearance of Mon-El is an absolutely amazing Silver Age comic book. Of all the ones I have read, including the introduction of the Legion of Superheroes, this is the best so far. This is such an amazing comic book. The art is lovely. The plot is very 1950s, full of the tropes, but you don't care. The art, I mean, honest to goodness. This is the best George Papp art I've seen so far. I've always liked it, but I'm really, really digging it this time through. His Mon-El is square-jawed and handsome and broad-chested. Very much the 1950s, early 60s kind of... you know what? I could see a young William Holden playing him. And for you younger people, you have no idea who William Holden is, and you're just missing out. Maybe Robert Mitchum's a little too ugly, but you know, he's in that vein. It just, Ma and Pa Kent are done so well. The outfit of him is Bob Cobb with the fedora with the brim pushed up in the front, and the checkered suit is just wonderful. Not the brightest robbers. I'm going to throw boulders at a town and not get caught by, especially a town that has a superhero. Why are criminals going to Smallville? Superboy's around. That makes sense. But it's just an absolute joy to read. It's absolutely beautiful. I read it again. I'm doing all these issues in Archives Volume 1. It's beautiful. It's a lot of fun. And it is the story of Mon-El, and Mon-El being in the Phantom Zone will become such an important part of the early Tales of the Legion of Superheroes stories that we're getting to in about 4 or 5 weeks. We've still got a few more of these one and dones, but there's some good ones coming up. Ultra Boy, Sun Boy story, a lot of fun. But this one is so important, and Mon-El is such a huge part of Silver Age Superboy, Silver Age Legion, and there are a lot of fans because of the TV show. We have a follower who writes fanfic about Mon-El. She loves Mon-El. We talk about Mon-El all the time. I think that the different versions of Mon-El have all been great. I watched the Supergirl cartoon, not religiously. I'm way behind on a lot of my CW, but there's a lot of it, and I will get to it because I do like their version of Supergirl. It's entertaining. It's fun, and their Mon-El is not my Mon-El, but he's a good Mon-El for that show. But this is my Mon-El. This is the Silver Age Mon-El. And then, especially when we get into, later, the first run of Paul Levitz. But, I mean, he plays such a huge part of the early history. He is such a prominent character, even though he's not a member for a while, because he is trapped in the Phantom Zone. It's just amazing. And it is such a wonderful story. I want to look at, there's some silliness with the robbers, and it is very much, as I've said, this is a story that was written in a different time with a different outlook on with a different worldview. Let's call it that, a different worldview, with a very optimistic sense of America and of the world and of people, and I like that. I like that Ma and Pa Kents are these warm, loving parents who love their son, and when he thinks he's found his brother, they adopt him into the family immediately. There is the Superboy becomes suspicious, which is the plot device, which gets you to learn. I mean, I don't think it's Superboy being concerned that he doesn't want his heart broken. He is, at this point, in continuity, he is the only Kryptonian in his, he doesn't know about Kara. He doesn't know about Kandor. He doesn't know about any of the other survivors because there become a lot of them, He ends up finding other survivors of Krypton, but he's alone. And this need for a brother. And a big brother. I have big brothers, and I look up to them, and especially when I was a kid. They were my big brothers. And there's something about that relationship, and it is to the T great. I'm sad I don't know Mr. Bernstein, who wrote this one. I feel bad, and I'm going to pause right here and stop recording, and I'm going to Google the heck out of him, and I'll be right back. All right, just a quick perusal of the interwebs. I found a little bit about Mr. Bernstein, and I'm going to dig up a little more, and I may do an episode about him because this man seems very interesting. He was a writer of EC Comics and Superman Comics. He worked on Aquaman with various artists. He also co-created Congorilla, Aqualad, Aquagirl, and also Archie Comics, The Jaguar. He did Crime Don't Pay. He did some Fawcett stuff. He did a 1947 Green Lantern. At Marvel, when it was Atlas, he did War Stories, a Western character called the Black Rider. Wow. And he worked with Jack Kirby on at least one Green Arrow story. A lot of Superman, a lot of Aquaman. This is really nice. And he also was a concert impresario and playwright, and founded the Long Island Concert Hall. I will do more and look into him, and I will reach out to some people to get some information, because I like stories like this. I don't know this guy. I am a bad comic fan. No, I just didn't. I was not an Aquaman fan. I read the Adventure Aquaman with Jim Aparo in the 70s. Fabulous comic. But I'm not that familiar with him. But it's good. It's a really good Silver Age comic book, and that's a good thing. It was entertaining. It was there was emotional context. There was an adventure, and Superboy, they're fully fleshed out in this one, and that's sometimes I have a problem with, and not a problem, that some older comics for people, because they were just one and dones, was there really character development? And I'm that way with, like TV when I was a kid, everything, it's beginning, middle, and end, and the characters change for the episode, and then everything reset. This adds to the mythos, and it's a wonderful addition to the mythos. He's such a good character. I don't know, he's not my favorite Legionnaire, but him and his part in Legion is always something that was interesting. Like when he was in a story, his romance with Shadowlass lasted decades. Great stuff. It's one thing I like about Legion is that they have interpersonal relationships, that they couple up this group of teens, that they pair up with, they find their partner, they find the love of their life. It's amazing. But he's just so fully fleshed out in this. Ma and Pa Kent are just the sweetest couple. And Superboy's he just wants a friend and a brother. It's an amazing story. I highly recommend it. It is not on the DC app, which is shameful. Shameful. And the Superboy Volume 1 stuff that eventually becomes Legion of Superhero there's nothing in it until the 70s. And then it's spotty when it was mainly a Legion book with either a little Cockrum, and some Mike Grell. So shame on you, DC. Get this. Put your dang library on the interwebs. The fee is the fee, where I'm paying for it, and I love it. And, I wish it was easier to navigate. Hint, hint. I don't use Comixology, and we won't get into that. But it's worth a read. It is a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, I cannot recommend it enough. It's beautiful. The cover's great. It's just so warm and fuzzy, and it's just a lot of fun. I was happy because I needed that today. I read it a second time right before I recorded, and I needed it. It was a busy day at work. So this is going up. So next week we are covering... Our next one is Superman, issue 147. And the Superboy and the Legion story is The Legion of Supervillains. And I get to talk about Kurt Swan art. Yay. So, folks, thanks for listening. Next week we'll be covering that. Hopefully this weekend, Saturday, I'm going to GalaxyCon with my wife. Maybe I'll see if she wants to get on and talk about traversing a con. We'll have fun. We're going with a friend of ours. But you can find that here in a week. And then again, I am going to be doing several episodes on the Liberty Legion, just because it's Roy Thomas, it's World War II characters, and it also has Ben Grimm in his Thing exosuit. Lots of fun. But you can find us here on the interwebs at JSA4E. That's JSA, the number 4E, where I post and share things that I'm interested in. You can find me on my two my Doctor Who podcast, Gallifrey's Most Wanted at Gallifrey's MW Pod, or Runcible at Runcible Report. And you can find us at our website. Just Google Stop Let's Team Up or Gallifrey's Most Wanted. You will find our Libsyn feeds. So you can listen to past episodes, or please check out our YouTube channel where this will drop with a couple slides. Lots of fun. You know what? And folks, until next week, be smart, be safe, be kind, and read some comics.